To a different sound, the roar of monster trucks. It's the Renegade TNT Monster Truck Challenge, the latest motorsports phenomenon, monster truck racing indoors. Coming up next on Trucks and Tractor Power. We're in the Mid-South Coliseum here in Memphis, Tennessee for Trucks and Tractor Power on the National Network. I'm Gary Lee alongside Rich Hooser, and tonight we have monster truck competition. We have a who's who of monster trucks.
You're right. You have last year's winner, the Equalizer, but then he's got some stiff competition tonight. All new Bigfoot racer coming out tonight to see how he can do. And, of course, the Gravedigger is going to see if he can put these guys in a grave.
Well, with monster truck competition becoming a year-round motorsports, that means we have to move indoors in the winter months, and being indoors provides a very special challenge.
Indeed it does. A lot of driving skill. This is what's going to win this race tonight. Who's going to see who can get across this set of cars here. You don't have a lot of room. It's a short track, so there's no time to change your mind and make any mistakes.
And the third member of the broadcast crew is Army Armstrong. He will join us when we return to Memphis for monster truck competition. Coliseum here in Memphis, and there is a young fan. He is prepared to handle all the noise being churned out by these monster trucks as Bigfoot. That's Andy Brass on board. He will have a bye run. He was the fastest qualifier this evening, but by the rules, Rich Hooser, he still has to make that first pass.
Indeed he does, and it has to be a legal pass. He cannot red light, and he has to stay in bounds. Of course he does. Now, he takes it a little easy, but then again, he's got to get on it a little bit. He's still checking out the truck. It's still fairly new. He's working the suspension. He's seeing how the truck's going to handle the rest of the night, and you can see how that suspension works fabulous on that truck.
Well, that was the bye run for Andy Brass in Bigfoot. We are now ready for side-by-side competition. The very popular Gravedigger out of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. This is Dennis Anderson, the 1950 panel truck. And here is Mike Wine from New Jersey in the Jersey Outlaw of Ford. It's Chevrolet against Ford. And the Gravedigger, but did he stay on top of the cars? Was that a legal run?
Yes, it was. He was able to keep two of his right two tires on the cars when he exited that ramp, and that makes it a legal run. He was a little behind there over that hill. Outlaw kind of got the jump on him, but he made up time.
So the winner is Dennis Anderson in the Gravedigger.
Okay, watch here, Gary. We'll be able to see Dennis's run head on, and you can see what I mean about just two tires exiting them cars, which makes it a legal run.
And here's a look at the radically designed Blazer convertible. Mad Dog, the name of this creation. And the driver is Bob Breen out of Jefferson City, Missouri. Mad Dog, a 454 Chevrolet power plant. His competition will be Johnny Kwasniewski in the Buffalo Tremor.
One thing I must say about John Kwasniewski in the Buffalo Tremor, he's come a long way over the last couple of years. He used to have a lot of problems with his truck braking, but he's doing real good this season, and he's got that truck dialed in.
Well, of course, these drivers strive for consistency as well as speed. And by the slightest of margins, it's Johnny K. the Buffalo Tremor.
And let me tell you what happened to Mad Dog here. Watch him. He comes over the hill real good, but when he gets to them cars, he just doesn't give it enough gas. He lets off, and his front end comes down a little bit. If he would have stayed in it, it could have been closer. He could have won.
A good crowd on hand here in the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis. This is a basketball palace, but tonight it's the roar of monster trucks, and some of the roar being provided by the Wild Hare out of Arnold, Missouri, Marvin Smith. And here is Scott Stevens in King Crunch, and we have a special radio hookup tonight where Army can talk to Scott Stevens.
Let me talk to you for a minute, Scott. Everything looking good? You got good heat? Everything going in the left lane?
Yeah, this is the lane I like, and the border's right where I want it, so if we get a good light, we want to be here at the finish line.
Now, the purpose for this radio is so the driver can always stay in communication with his crew chief.
A lot of air under King Crunch. He takes the victory, but it looked like Marvin Smith had a problem.
He might have. He's been having little problems with his carburetors lately, and I think he got flooded out a little bit and just didn't get the horsepower enough. As you can see, no air. He nosedived down, and it gave King Crunch the win.
Scott, good run, but we received word you got a little bit of damage to the left front of the truck. What is it?
We just broke a shock, Army, and it's not going to hurt nothing on this little short track.
The communication you're having with us during the run, I want to thank you for that. Does that distract you at all?
No, it really kind of helped me, especially when he's playing like King Crunch and coming in real slow, and I don't have to think about Marvin. Our stuff's working real good tonight. When I can talk to you and Crash, it kind of gets me out of the racing, and when I have to quit talking and I get back and ready to race, and it kind of stays real slow. And
we'll see you in that next round.
Thank you.
I tell you, it's kind of interesting, though. Sitting here talking to the guy, you can tell he's still going 150 miles an hour. His heart is pumping like crazy. He'll be back. We're going to be keeping an eye on him. That's King Crunch out of Texas.
Well, Army, he referred to Crash. That is the name he has for his crew chief. As we take a look at Steve Kane now, an awesome Kong out of Killeen, Texas. The Chevy 496 cubic inches. And his competition this evening will be Whiskey Business with Ken Deppy out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Now, of course, Ken is a rookie in this monster truck racing. He's just recently got out of the service, and now he's behind the wheel of a monster truck. But I tell you what, he's been driving like a veteran.
Well, this could be a good education for Ken because he goes up against the veteran, Steve Kane, an awesome Kong. And the little narrow Chevy truck from Texas takes the victory. Awesome Kong will advance.
They both did a great job. They come off the light together, but look how the advantage Awesome Kong has when he got over the hill. But Ken Deppy pretty much caught up as soon as he reached the cars. It was a good race.
Well, apparently there's a problem mechanically with Awesome Kong. That truck will have to be towed out of this complex.
Well, Gary, I'm down here on the floor, and I just talked to Steve on his way out to the pits, and he said it's no problem. He just overheated a little bit from the last run, and he just don't want to take a chance of doing any engine damage so he can be ready for the next round.
Well, here's a driver that is ready. This is USA 1 Steve Wilkie, who was the crew chief for Rod Lipsow when Rod won the national championship. So he knows this truck inside and out. And a good look at Jesse Bergian playing for keeps.
Of course, this might be a little bit of a mismatch here. Jesse Bergey's truck is not quite set up as technically as USA 1 is for racing. As you see right now, Steve Wilkie's getting all psyched out. He does this every time he runs. He puts his mind to what he's doing, so nothing else bothers him. So all he has to worry about is winning the race.
Well, routine he goes through before every run. USA 1 and playing for keeps, Chevy against Chevy. And Steve Wilkie has the big advantage as he crosses the finish line. He'll advance in USA 1.
And if you did notice, he didn't take it very hard, nice and easy over the hill. He knows he's got an advantage. He's ahead. He doesn't get a lot of air, and he just makes a nice, clean run. And what we're going to see here is in-cab camera. Now, you can see the abuse these drivers take, and boy, do I know how that feels.
Well, Steve Wilkie's going in some big shoes to fill, but you look like you're just taking it one step at a time and doing a good job. It looked like an awfully smooth run out there, Steve.
Well, that's about it, Army. I can't fill Rod's shoes. All I can do is create some for my own. True Value, Master Mechanic, Chevrolet, Everett Jasmine, all the guys at the shop. I got to do something for them. Those are the shoes.
It's amazing how many guys are behind you. We'll see you in that next round. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Army.
And now we are ready to take a look at that bright yellow Chevrolet of Gary Porter. That's the Carolina Crusher out of the state of North Carolina. 468 cubic inches from that Chevrolet power plant. And he goes up against another Chevrolet, the pink and white of Bennett Clark. So it's Chevy against Chevy. North Carolina against Georgia. A pair of Southern gentlemen in round one here in Memphis, Tennessee in the Mid-South Coliseum as Clark stages the Clydesdale 2. And track official Tracy Smart reaches for the starter's button to turn these two Chevrolets loose. And Gary Porter picks up the victory in Carolina Crusher.
Gary, just as the runs we previously saw here, these guys are staying side by side over the hill, and then here's where the race is won. As soon as you hit the cars, Porter hit him first and was able to take the win.
Gary Porter, I got a question just as a fan. When you guys come in from outdoors like that, the windows are all fogged up. How can you see out of the truck?
They're really not as fogged up from the inside as it looked like from the outside. You know, if I couldn't